Survey Transfer is a service that lets you automatically move data from SurveyGizmo into a SQL database, where you can more easily integrate survey data with CRMs or business intelligence software. Let's start by going to surveytransfer.com and I'll show you how to configure an account. Alright, so I've got Survey Transfer loaded. If you're a first-time user, you'll have to use the registration page to create an account and just follow the process. I've already done that, so I'm going to go ahead to the login screen here. And it just requires a username and password, username in the form of an email. And log in. So it's telling me that no SurveyGizmo account has been configured. So what it requires is an API key that comes from your SurveyGizmo account. And to input that, I'm going to go to the settings page. And I've got it handy right here. So I have to be an account admin. If you need help finding the API key in your SurveyGizmo account, you can refer to the link above the submit button. I'll go ahead and submit that. And it is valid, so it's going to save it to your account. And if we go back to the home page, this should show me a list of all the teams that I have in SurveyGizmo. So teams are how you group your surveys within SurveyGizmo, and there's quite a few there. So what I want to do is actually filter some of those out. So I can head back to the settings tab and go to the SurveyGizmo filter, and I can actually remove a couple that I just don't want to see. Maybe they're not too important, just to declutter the home page a little bit. And I will have to hit the save button. And there we go. Once I go back to the home page, yeah, those aren't showing up. So that's a little cleaner. And let's head back to the settings page. Now, we also need to configure a database account. So where do we want our survey data to go in our database? So I've partitioned a Windows Azure database, and we can see it here. And I'm just going to view the connection string for that. It's going to need the server name, the database name, and then the login credentials. So let me just grab the server name, put it here. Database name is surveydata.dev, and then the username. And it's going to attempt to connect. Couldn't be established, so I think I just used the wrong password. Let me try again. There we go. So the credentials were saved. Some other tabs on the settings page are going to be for the account management, where you can update your password. You can also update any of your details associated with your account. And then lastly, once you get using the service, you can actually pay your bills directly through the application on the activation and billing tab. So let's go back to the home page and actually configure what we call a loadout. So that's picking data elements from SurveyGizmo and defining where we want them to go in the database. And I'm interested in working with this 360 surveys, so I'm going to create a new loadout. I'm going to name it pretty much the same thing that the team name is in SurveyGizmo. I'll create that, there we go. And let's start inserting some survey data. So I'm going to select that, and it's going to ask for a table name. So in my newly partitioned database, it's actually completely empty. So what I need is some sort of structure to insert data into. And where we can find that, or at least an example of that, is on the documentation page, which is in the bottom left corner of your screen. You can also download the PDF for this tutorial, and it's also web-based right here for quick reference. And about halfway down, I can find a download script. So this is a sample script that we allow users to download. So I'm going to open that up. And it's just going to be the 8 tables that correspond with the 8 parts of survey data that you're able to request from SurveyGizmo. I'm going to bring that back into my database and very simply just give that a run. Alright, now we should see those 8 tables in my database. There we go. And now I can start actually inserting or defining the columns that I want the data points from SurveyGizmo to go. So the table name is going to be SG Survey. Let me head back to my loadout here. So SG Surveys. And let's pick the survey ID. When we select one of these, we also have to give a column name where we want the data to go. So many of these names are pretty straightforward. So let's do type, title, status, also the survey ID. And maybe we want the completed count. And how about the test data count? And maybe the date created. If I want to test, make sure all those are valid, let me test it. So that's a warning error saying that we have a type mismatch of integers, so that's not going to be an issue. If it was maybe a wrong column name or a wrong table name, that would show up in red as an error, and yeah, everything else would be pretty fine. So let me explore some of the other tabs on this view. We've got the field, so if you ever want to insert just a static field, you can do so here. So for every survey that comes in from that team and this loadout, you can just have it have a static field, so we're not going to worry about that. And also filters. So suppose I want to grab data of only closed surveys or only surveys that are in the launch phase in SurveyGizmo, then I can specify that here. I'm not going to do so at this time. Let me just make sure that those changes are saved. There we go. So 7 fields that I'm expecting to come from SurveyGizmo into the database. And then the next thing I need to do is go ahead and define a schedule. So we'll head over to the schedule tab. And we can see here that the minimum time interval that we allow data to be transferred is going to be 1 hour. I can make it every day, every month, every week. And I can also choose individual surveys from the team, from the 360 surveys team. So my very good friends took some 360s, and I've got 4 surveys here. And I'm actually going to select all surveys on this team. So if I ever were to add any surveys into that team in SurveyGizmo, those would automatically be processed the next time a loadout is run. Additionally, if any of those surveys were closed, I obviously don't want to keep uploading the data for those surveys. I can select this option so that once a survey has been closed, it'll upload one more time, and then it will stop uploading data from that survey. If I have a stored procedure on my database, I can put just the stored procedure name there, and that'll run after the loadout has been completed. And so I'm interested in running this right now, so I'm going to hit the Run Loadout Now button. The loadout's going to run immediately. And this will take just a couple seconds because we're only uploading the survey data. We can actually see that there's a green check mark up in that box for the surveys. That just means I have configured a loadout and the loadout is valid. If I wanted to upload page, question options data, I can just take the time to do that based on the structure that I have in the survey, the sample survey database. Let me head back to the schedule, and I can check the logs. All right, there we go. So the survey that loadout has been processed and ran in about 7 seconds. And let me just really quickly query the database to make sure that all of the data has gotten there. Just a quick select statement. And there we go. So we got our 4 records of data regarding those 360 surveys. And that's about it. Thanks for watching this tutorial, and feel free to contact us with any questions.